Hey everybody, this is Steve Krause. I'm coming at you at midterms for English 328 Online for summer 2010. I just want to give everybody a brief update about where we're at and hopefully a little bit of useful instruction in terms of managing your blog space. First off, I have, as of just a few minutes ago actually, finished completing commenting on everyone's first project and posting a grade about that. Completing and commenting for everyone's blogs and posting a grade about that for the first part of the term, and commenting and completing grades for the first part of participation for the first part of the term for everybody. I think that everything's basically going pretty well. Just a couple of little things I want to point out based on some questions that came up through the process. The first thing is that in terms of participation for the class, I've said this before and I'll say it again, the most important thing in terms of participating is that everyone needs to participate at the beginning of the cycle for a particular topic, and they need to participate for everything in that topic. So for example, if it says in the schedule, read and discuss part 2 of Williams, chapters 6 through 10, beginning Wednesday, which would be today, that means that I expect everyone to post a comment about the Williams book for that section by the end of the day today, which is Wednesday, and by the end of the day is midnight. If you post later than that, you're not participating at the same level as people who post in a timely fashion to that part of the discussion. And if you don't post at all, well, then you're not participating. Again, that's one of the big differences between the online class. If you're not here on this site, then you're not here. I can't tell, I can't look through the camera. Are they paying attention at home? I can't tell if you're sitting at home on your computer and quietly and carefully and nodding what other people have to say, or just carefully listening to others and things like that. It's just one of the dilemmas of the online class. So the only way that you can demonstrate that you're actually participating is to actually participate. So it's really important that you do those comments and posts on the class website in a timely fashion. The blogs are similar. The most important thing with the blog posts are to do them on time when they're due and to just do them on a regular basis. I'm not looking for perfection at either participating in the class discussions or the blog posts, but the idea is that through the give and take of the process, through writing and the participation, engaging in the discussions, through writing on your own and thinking on your own about issues that that hopefully will tie into the readings. Hopefully that'll sort of like make you think more in terms of the writing. So it's all about different sorts of places and ways to write to improve writing overall beyond the class, and also writing in particular with the assignments, the exercises that we're working on. Okay, so just keep up the good work and keep doing that for the second part of the term. One last thing, you can't make up these things now. So in other words, participation part 1 is done. The blog post part 1 are done, so there's no reason to go back and try to do those again. The only thing you can really do at this stage to improve your grade in this stuff is to press forward and do a better job if you weren't happy with the part that you did this first part of the term. Now, I know you're all working right now on the Ancient Style YouTube project because that's due at midnight, but we're also in the process of talking about the new style manuals, both the Strunk and White and the Williams book. And I'm a little concerned because I'm not seeing as many comments in this Williams book. And you have been reading this, haven't you? It's a lot more complicated than Strunk and White. So if you haven't cracked into it yet, you better crack into it soon, because it'll be very difficult for you to succeed at the style project if you don't read this book. So the way this works is you hand in the Ancient Style YouTube project by midnight tonight. I will turn around as fast as I can to make comments on that so that you have an opportunity to revise either the first project or the second project for part 1 of the style manual project. Okay, and we'll talk more about that. I do want to mention one thing though. I changed the deadline of that project. It is now due on Wednesday, a week from today, the 28th, instead of it being due on Monday. I got to give you a little bit extra time so that you have a chance to choose between which of these two projects you want to revise. Either the first project, the Invention and Technology project, or the second project, the YouTube Ancient Style project. It's not as enough time, but 7.5-week term. We've talked about this before. The last thing I wanted to do is I wanted to try to help some people out a little bit with how they've set up their blogs for the portfolio for English 328. Essentially, I've already spoken about that whole sort of parent versus not, sub file, and you want to set up a portfolio file that says English 328, and then you want to have other files underneath it. Um, Let me show you some screen captures for some things that you may need to be aware of in terms of how you can alter appearance and how you can do other things to sort of clarify where stuff is at on your English 328 website. Okay, so this is a screen capture of my English 328 blog, or an example of it. I'm going to zoom in here in a second, and it's going to move around, but you hopefully will get the idea. I got a dashboard just like you do, and then this all should look fairly familiar to you. If you haven't played around with it much yet, there's this thing called appearance, and that allows you to do all kinds of different things in terms of changing the look of your blogs. There's all kinds of different themes that can make your blog look all kinds of different ways. Now the current theme I have, you'll notice it has like a nice drop down menu there, and I can click that, and then that's the writing technology essay. And I get that with the whole parent thing. And it works really well. But if I change themes, like for example, I'm going to hit appearance here, I'm going to change this theme called dark wood. If I change themes, then I get a whole different kind of look here. I don't have that drop down thing. This theme has it kind of underneath there. But when I click on portfolio, I don't get that. So you have to be careful about what theme you pick for how this is arranged. Now, one other thing that you can try to do is you can set up a widget for pages. Now, that also is under appearance. So I'm going to scroll over here and go to appearance. There I go. And I go into where it says widgets. There's tons of different things that these widgets can do. And we're not going to talk about all of them, but you can play around with them. But basically what you do is you just drag things over from the left here to the right where you have the column. So for example, I'm going to go where it says pages. These are all different kinds of widgets. I'm going to go back up to where it says pages here. I'm going to grab that one, and I'm going to drag it over and drag it up to my sidebar, okay? And then I'm going to call it English 328 pages. Well, no, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to call it 328 portfolio instead. And then I just save this, and then I say sort by page, and you can do this in a bunch of different ways. But I would sort by page ID, and you can play around with what the, or page order, you can play around with what the effect is. And then I just save this. Now, then what happens when I go back and look at my site, you can see that now I get this thing that says English 328 portfolio, and then I've got these pages underneath it. Now, if I go and I change my layout, and here's an example, I just changed my layout to something different, and this is a layout that some people have, and you'll notice that at the top there, it doesn't give me any drop-down menus. It just says English 328 portfolio, and then there's the rest of the blog. So there's a lot of different ways that changing the appearance can alter how stuff displays in your blog, and you need to be careful about that. I hope that's a little helpful. Here's the bottom line. First, you want to make sure that you include an English 328 portfolio, and then have underneath that, either through the pages thing that I demonstrate, or preferably through the sort of parent relationship that we've talked about before, subpages. And each one of those subpages should be your essays in progress. The second thing is you should include the first draft and the second draft and revisions and as we go along here through the rest of the term, each as separate essays, as separate pages that will get listed that way. And the most important thing is that when all else fails, just make sure that it's clear to your readers, me and your classmates and anybody else, what different things in your site are. I think most people have gotten the hang of this whole pages versus posts thing. But make sure that you have different pages titled different things. And if you run into trouble with it, just let's sit down and talk about it, because there's a pretty good chance that we can sort it out, especially if we meet in person or talk over Skype or something like that. Okay, I think that's it for now. This is lasted plenty of time. Onward, robots, as I like to say. And if you have any other questions, be sure to ask, and I'll see you online.